first example is still going to be rational numbers because whole numbers are rational numbers. Okay, but these are going to be the ones that we skipped on our homework assignment. So we're going to talk about these separately from the two-step equations we talked about on Friday. Okay, so the ones that we talked about on Friday, I'm going to write an example above our objective for today. Shh, gentlemen. Okay, the ones that we solved on Friday looked like this. So n over 3 plus 2 is greater than 0. You can write that in, you cannot write that in, it's up to you. Okay, we're not going to solve this one. I just want to compare what this one looked like in comparison to the one we're going to work on today. Okay, so this is what we learned how to solve on Friday. Okay, there are special cases of two-step inequalities that are different than the steps that we used before. So if it looks like this, so 1 plus m over 9 is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, please write this one in your notes. This one is going to be important that you write today. Okay, I want you guys to think about the steps to solve an inequality. So in your head, start thinking through the steps. What's my first step? What's my second step? So on and so forth. Okay, think about what are the steps to solve an inequality. Okay, Jorge, do you remember the first step? Okay, we're going to undo addition or subtraction first. Okay, we're working our order of operations backwards. So we're going to add or subtract first. We're going to undo that addition or subtraction. Okay, after we add or subtract, what is our second step going to be? Okay, Elena, what do we do after we add or subtract? Okay, I like that she's looking back at her notes. If you don't remember, that's where you refer, so good job. Okay, we're going to undo multiplication or division. Okay, what's the one thing we have to remember when we're multiplying or dividing by a number? Okay, what's the one thing we have to worry about, Vanessa?
What?
What's the one thing we have to worry about when we multiply or divide by a number?
Negative.
Okay, what happens if the sign is negative?
We flip it.
We flip the sign. Okay, so if you multiply or divide by a negative, you flip the sign. And what sign am I talking about? Am I talking about the... So I know that I'm talking about the negative sign here. So if I multiply by a negative number, okay, but what sign am I flipping?
That one. Greater than, less than.
Okay, the greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, the inequality sign. Okay, so if I multiply or divide by a negative number, I have to flip the inequality sign. Does that make sense? Okay, after I undo multiplication or division, step number 3, what do I do next? Okay, Emma, after I'm done adding and subtracting, multiplying or dividing, what's the third thing I check?
Variables must be on the left.
Okay, I want my variable on the left. If it is not, Emma, what do I have to do?
You have to flip the sign.
Okay, if the variable is not on the left, so if not, what side would it be on if it's not on the left?
Right.
Okay, it's on the right. Okay, so if it's not on the left, it's on the right, I have to flip it over to the left. So I need to flip the sign. Again, what sign am I flipping, guys?
Less than equal to.
Okay, the inequality sign. Less than, equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or greater than. Okay, I'm flipping the inequality sign. Okay, after I check my variable's on the left, I've solved it, it's all good. Okay, my sign's right, what do I have to do at the very end? Okay, what do I have to do at the very end? Annabelle. When you solve an inequality, you have n is less than 2. What's the last thing I have to do if I've solved it? Okay, we already did. N is less than 2, right? What would I do with that? It's the very last thing we do with inequalities. Jaxie, can you help her out? We graph it. Okay, you graph the solution. Okay, so step 1 and 2, you're essentially solving for the variable with those 2 steps. Okay, that's why it's a 2-step inequality. I have to add and subtract, then I multiply and divide. Once that's done, my variable should be alone. Okay, once my variable's alone, what do I have to make sure it's on which side? The left. If it's not on the left, I need to flip it. Okay, and the last step is to graph. Questions on the steps before I talk about this weird case. Okay, so on Friday we learned how to do this one. Would you agree I can solve that using those steps that we just listed? Yes, I may. I can add and subtract this 2, right? I would subtract the 2 over, then I would multiply by 3, and would be by itself, correct?
Yep.
Okay, why, look at this one, the one that we did on Friday, and compare it to the one that we're going to look at today. This is just one example that we're going to do today. But compare the two. What is different? If you find what's different, raise your hand. Okay, what is different between those two examples? Okay, what is different between those two examples? Gabby, do you see a difference?
There is another number on top.
Okay, good. So 3 over here just had the n on top, right? So the fraction just had the n on top, the 3 on bottom, correct?
Yeah.
Down here, my entire left side is a fraction. Do you agree? So not only is my variable a part of my fraction like it was up here, but also the number I'm adding is also a part of this fraction. Does everybody see that, how that's different? Okay, this is a special case. We talked about this with the equations as well. This is a very, very special case. Because, can I even get to the top of my fraction without undoing the bottom of my fraction first? Okay? I can't. I have to get rid of this bottom number before I can even touch the top. Does that make sense? Because it's attached to both the 1 and the m. Okay? Up here, could I get rid of this 2 without having to touch the 3? Are they connected at all? The 2 and the 3?
Nope.
It's not connected by multiplication or division, is it? No, so I could subtract this 2 over, no problem. But this 1 that's being added to my m, do you agree I'm also dividing it by 9? Okay? Since that's happening to both my m and my 1, I need to get rid of the 9 first. Okay? Questions on this weird case? This special case here. Now, if I want to get rid of the 9, first of all, what's happening with the 9 right now? What operation is happening with the 9?
Division.
Austin? I'm dividing by 9, correct? How am I going to get rid of the 9? Okay, I have to multiply first in this case. Okay, so in the special case, you flip these 2 steps. Okay, in the special case, when it looks like this, where the 1 and the m are both connected to the bottom number, okay, you have to flip these 2 steps. I'm actually going to multiply or divide before I add or subtract. Only if there's 2 numbers attached to my bottom number. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to multiply by 9 on both sides. Okay, I multiplied. What do I have to make sure I didn't multiply by? Anytime I multiply or divide, what am I looking for? If it's negative, did I multiply by negative? Nope. So I'm going to go ahead. 9 on top, 9 on bottom. What happens? Cancels. What's left? Okay, this is still left. 1 plus m. Okay, I did not multiply by a negative, so I keep my sign. What's 1 times 9? 9. Any questions on that first step? Okay, did everyone see how that's different from what we did on Friday? Yes? No? Okay, all right. Now, how do I get m by itself now? Okay, how do I get m by itself now? Dawson, how do I get m by itself?
Subtract
I'm going to subtract what?
1.
I have to subtract 1, and if I do it from one side, I have to do it to the other side. Okay, make sure you do it to both sides. 1 minus 1, guys, everybody is?
1 minus 1 is 0.
Everybody, what's 1 minus 1?
0.
0. It's done. All I have left is m. Okay, greater than or equal to 9 minus 1, everybody is? 8. Okay, is my variable on the left? Yep, so I'm done solving, but what do I still have to do? I still have to graph. So I'm going to graph the solution. What's my number I'm graphing? Positive 8. Everybody, please participate. Is it open or closed? Open or closed? Okay. It's equal to 8 as well as greater than, so it's going to include 8. It's equal, so it's closed. Okay, which way is this arrow pointing? To the right, so I'm going to shade to the right. Okay, I don't care if you draw the arrow above here, if you do like a little one of these. As long as I know which way you're shading, that's fine. Okay? You don't have to make the squiggly line like I do. Okay? Any questions on how to solve that special case? All right. We're going to go ahead. I wanted to look at that one because that was a special case that was on your homework from last week that I did not have you do. Okay? Now we're going to go into our rational numbers. Okay? What type of numbers do we work with rational numbers, guys? Fractions and Decimals. We're going to look at decimals first. So if I had, please write this in, 4.7 plus b is less than, or sorry, plus b over 4.4 is less than 3.677. 4.7 plus b divided by 4.4 is less than 3.677. Let's write this in. Okay, now is this one of those special cases?
No.
Are both numbers with the sign of my variable attached to this 4.4?
No.
No, so if this is not a special case, you follow like normal, okay? So as I look at this, what's my first step normally? First step normally, okay? Jenna, what's our first step? Okay, now guys, I want you to look at this. On the side that has the variable, everybody's eyes up here. This is important, guys. I need your attention up here, please. Okay? If I look at this side, which number is just being added or subtracted? It is not being multiplied or divided. Okay, does everyone see how 4.7 is the number that's all by itself over here? It's not attached to my variable by multiplication or division, right? That's the number I want to get rid of first. So if this is a positive 4.7, how do I move it over to the right? Okay, I want to get rid of it by subtracting. Opposite of a positive 4.7 is a negative 4.7. Okay, now, if I subtract 4.7 to this side, is 4.7 bigger or smaller than 3.6? Okay, would you agree, guys? Look up here, 4.7 is bigger than 3.6. Do you agree? I need to write that up here then. Because when I subtract, what number do I want on top?
Bigger number.
The bigger number. So make sure your bigger number is on top when you are subtracting. Okay, when you subtract decimals, what's the thing you need to remember? Line up the decimals. So add or subtract decimals. Okay, you need to remember to line up the decimals. Okay, line up your decimals. So from here, if we go back over to this side, 4.7 minus 4.7 is? Everybody, 4.7 minus 4.7?
0.
0. It's gone. What's left?
Nothing.
On this side?
B over.
Okay, we still have the b over 4.4. That is 0, right? That's gone, but I still have this b over 4.4. Okay, less than. Now, what do I need to put above these 7s if I'm trying to subtract these? Zeros. Can I take 0 minus 7? No. So what do I need to do? Borrow. Which number am I going to end up borrowing from? 7. What's it going to change to? 6. This is going to become 10, but wait, I still need to get this 0, right? So I have to borrow from this one again. What's 10? Going to become 9. This is a 10. 10 minus 7 is? 3. 9 minus 7 is?
2.
6 minus 6?
0.
Bring your decimal straight down. 4 minus 3?
1.
Now, was 4.7 or 3.6 bigger? Okay, everybody.
4.7.
4.7 or 3.6 bigger?
4.7.
Is 4.7 positive or negative?
Negative.
So this is going to end up
Negative.
negative 1.023. Are there any questions on how to add and subtract decimals? So which number do you want on top when you're subtracting?
The bigger number.
The bigger number. Okay. I had to make this a negative 4.7, so my top number, if that's 4.7, is going to be my negative number. They're opposite signs, so you still subtract. Okay? What questions do we have? Okay. As I look at this, I want to solve for b. Okay? I want to get b alone. I have b divided by 4.4 is less than negative 1.023. Do you have a question? Oh, you're going to help. Okay? How do I get rid of this 4.4 on the bottom? How do I get b alone? Austin? I'm going to multiply. Opposite of divide is to multiply by 4.3. Now, when I multiply by decimals, what do I need to remember to do? Line up the numbers. I don't line up the decimals when I multiply. So when you multiply decimals, please add this in if you struggle with decimal operations. Mark, make sure you're following along, please. Okay, follow along, please. When you multiply decimals, line up the numbers, not the decimals. Okay, I'm going to use the symbol for numbers. Save space. Line up the numbers. Okay, so if I line up numbers, 4.4 is going to go at the very end of 1.023. Okay, Okay, now I just multiply like normal. Okay, I'm going to multiply this like normal. So, 4 times 3, everybody.
12.
Everybody?
12.
12, carry the 1. 4 times 2, everybody.
8.
Guys, participate, please. Let's go. 4 times 2.
8.
8 plus 1.
9.
Bring down the 9. 4 times 0.
0.
1 times 4.
4.
4. Okay, what do I need to put underneath the 2? Carlos.
0.
Why?
Because the placeholder.
Okay, you need to put your placeholder 0 at the bottom. Now I keep multiplying. 4 times 3, everybody.
12.
Carry the 1. 4 times 2. 8 plus 1.
9.
4 times 0.
0.
4 times 1.
4.
Add these two together. 2 plus 0.
2.
9 plus 2.
11.
Carry the 1. 1 plus 9.
10.
Carry the 1. 4 plus 1.
5.
4 plus nothing?
4.
Okay, so I have 4, 5, 0, 1, 2. That's my answer, right? Okay. How many numbers come after the decimal place in the original problem? Vanessa?
4.
Okay, 4. There's 1 after the decimal place here, and then there's 3 numbers that come after the decimal there. So I have a total of 4. I need to make sure there is 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers after my decimal point in my answer. Questions? Now, I multiplied a negative times a positive. What's my answer going to end up being?
Negative.
Negative. Okay? So I multiplied my decimals over here. 4.4 on top, 4.4 on bottom. What happened?
Cancel out.
It cancels. Did I multiply by a negative?
Yes.
Yes.
This number's negative?
No.
No, the number that I multiplied is not negative. So do I have to worry about switching the sign?
No.
Nope. I'm just going to get B is less than negative 4.5012. Okay? Questions? Now, when I'm graphing this, on your guys' homework assignments, usually they have a number line with numbers, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, if they have a number line with numbers, how would I graph this? What 2 numbers would this be in between? Okay, negative 4 and negative 5, right? Okay, so negative 4 or negative 5, which one comes first on my number line?
4.
Okay, negative 4, and then furthest to the left is going to be
85.
negative 5. It's going to be somewhere in between there, open or closed? Open. In which way is my arrow pointing? To the left. Okay, questions? Any questions? Okay, let's look at another one here. What if I had... What if I had negative 0.5k plus 2.1 is less than or equal to 4.75? 0.5k plus 2.1 is less than or equal to 4.75. Are my steps the same?
No. Yeah.
Are they still going to be the same? Yep, they're pretty similar. Okay, so what's our first step, everybody?
Add subtraction.
Everybody, what's our first step?
Add and subtract.
Undo addition or subtraction. Undo, add, or subtract. So, on this one, am I going to subtract or am I going to add? Okay, I am adding 2.1, so I am going to subtract. Opposite of addition is to subtract. Okay, when I'm subtracting, which number is going to be bigger, 4.75 or 2.1?
4.75.
So I'm just going to subtract right underneath here. What do I need to line up?
The decimal.
So I have 2.1. Okay, 2.1 minus 2.1, what happens?
0.
Cancels out at 0, what's left?
Negative 0.5.
Okay, negative 0.5k, correct? Just bring that straight down. This is gone, it's 0. I'll have less than or equal to. Now, what's below this 5?
0.
A 0, 5 minus 0 is?
5.
5. 7 minus 1 is?
6.
6. 4 minus 2? 2. Bring the decimal straight down. I get 2.65. Is it positive or negative? It's positive because my bigger number is 4.75 and it's positive, so I keep it positive. Questions on the first step? Okay, last step. How do I get rid of that 0.5?
Divide.
Okay, it's being multiplied. What's the opposite of multiply, everybody?
Divide.
Everybody?
Divide.
Opposite of multiply, everybody is? Thank you. I'm going to divide by negative 0.5. What happens when I divide by negative 0.5?
It cancels out.
It does, but what happens when I divide by negative?
Oh, yeah, it's negative.
I have to flip
The sign.
the sign. Make sure you always look. Am I multiplying or dividing by negative? I have to flip my sign. So it flips from less than to greater than or equal to. Okay? Now, can I do this in my head?
Nope.
Nope. Okay? Shh, voices off, guys. Eyes up here. Okay? Which number, 2.65 or 0.5, is going to go on the inside of my box? 2.65. The top number goes inside. Oops. 2.65 goes inside the box. Okay, what number goes outside? Negative 0.5. Now, when you are dividing decimals, guys, okay, this is going to be an example of dividing decimals. What do I need to do with my outside decimal? Okay, I need to move my decimal in to make it a whole number, right? Okay, so dividing decimals. Move the decimal on the outside to make this a whole number. I had to move it one place, so how many do I move it on the inside? One place. This is where my decimal is going to go in my final answer. Okay, how many times does 5 go into 26?
It goes in there 5 times.
5 times. 5 times 5 is?
25.
26 minus 25?
That's 0.
1. Bring down your 5. 5 goes into 15.
3.
Okay, that 3 goes after your decimal because this 5 was after my decimal. Okay, 3 times 5 is?
5.
15, so I get 0. And is it going to be positive or negative 5.3? Negative 5.3. Shh, guys. Okay, positive number divided by a negative. I get a negative answer. Negative 5.3. Now I have to graph it. Which numbers are this? Is this number going to be in between? Okay, try again.
4 and 2.
It's negative, so which two numbers?
Negative 5.
Negative 5 and negative 6. So is it, how far? Is it closer to 5 or closer to 6?
6.
Okay, it's closer to negative 5 because it's only 5.3, so I'm going to draw it closer. Closed or open? Closed. In which direction is this arrow pointing? To the right because we had to flip our sign because we multiplied or divided by negative. Questions on decimal operations? Okay, would you agree we're probably more confident with decimals than we are with fractions?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to look at fractions last. Hopefully that'll stick while you're going over your homework assignment, okay? So, I'm going to flip my page. We're going to look at fractions next. 2 examples of fractions, then we're done. I need you guys to participate here. Ready? We're going to wake up. Okay, I want everyone to stand up. Everyone stand up. Okay. Stand up. Stand up.
I am fully energized.
Stand up. I want everyone to shake your hands. Raise them above your head. Shake your hands. Stand up. Okay. Down really low. Shake your hands. Wave your arms around. Okay. All right. Sit back down. Sit back down. Hurry. We gotta go.
Where we gotta go?
Ignore notes again. All right. Back to me in 3. Back to me in 2. Back to me in 1. Logan, sit down, please. Okay. We had 2 more examples. We need to get through these 2 examples, and then it'll be work time. Okay? Shh. I am going to do you want harder or easier first?
Both.
Harder first? Okay. Shh. Let's go. All right. Back to me in 3, 2, 1. Focus back in. We woke ourselves up. Now we're going to write these down. So, next example. Please copy it down. Okay. Negative 1/2 plus negative u is greater than or equal to 9/4. The steps are going to be the exact same. Just pretend like these are whole numbers. Okay? Negative u, yes. Okay? Negative 1/2 plus negative u is greater than or equal to 9/4. Okay. Please just think about this. Do not blurt. Just think, what is our first step? Okay? Just think. Don't blurt. Jason, what's our first step? What's our first step? I don't know is not an option. We've went through 3 problems. Look at your rest of your notes. What is our first step? Okay, undo, add, or subtract. Which number is being added or subtracted to you? Which one is being added or subtracted to you? Austin. Okay, this negative 1/2 is being added to this negative u. Would you agree?
Yep.
I need to get rid of this negative 1/2. How do I make it 0?
Add.
Opposite of a negative 1/2 is a positive 1/2. Okay, when I add or subtract fractions. Okay, Austin, say it louder. We need to have a common denominator. Make sure you're writing these in your notes, guys. Adding and subtracting fractions, you have to have a common denominator. Okay? So negative 1/2 plus 1/2, what happens? Okay, one's positive, one negative. We subtract, it cancels, it's 0. What is still left? Be careful here. What is still left? Okay, Javi, what's still left? Okay, make sure you're paying attention, please. Emma, what's still left on the left-hand side? Is it positive or negative u?
Negative.
Okay, make sure you keep that negative there, guys. Dawson, guys up here, please. Okay, my sign doesn't change. I didn't multiply or divide anything. Okay, I'm not worrying about the variable right now. Sign doesn't change. Okay, 9/4 plus 1/2. Okay, think about this. Think about it. Don't blurt. Okay.
Can't make no promises.
What is our common denominator going to be?
It's going to be
Guys.
Told you.
Cadence, what's our common denominator going to be? 4. So do I have to change my first fraction at all? Nope. It already has a 4. I just leave it. How do I go from 2 to 4? Jenna. How do we go from 2 to 4? I multiply by 2. If I multiply that by 2, I have to multiply the top by 2. 1 times 2 is? 2. 9 plus 2, everybody? 11/4. It's greater than or equal to negative u. Okay. I want everybody's attention up here, please. This is very important. A lot of you are going to look at this and go, I've never seen this before in my life. Yes, you have. Okay? How many u's are up there?
1.
So what number goes in front of my u? 1. Now, how do I get that negative 1 to go away? I will, but what do I have to do?
Divide it.
This is negative 1 times u, so I have to divide by negative 1 on both sides. Okay? Shh. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is?
0.
Is it 0?
It's canceled.
It just cancels. It's not 0. It's 1. 1u, right? That's 1u. Okay? I divided by negative. So what do I have to do?
You divide.
Flip the
Sign.
sign. It becomes less than or equal to. Now, 11/4 divided by negative 1. What happens to the sign of 11/4?
It becomes negative.
It becomes negative. Is anything else happen?
Nope.
No, it's the same number. I'm dividing by a 1. Okay? The only difference is it's negative 1, so it's going to be negative 11/4. Now, how could I make 11/4 into a different number so I can know how to graph it? Okay, how do I change it into a mixed number so I know how to graph it?
2 3/4.
Okay? I don't. So as I look at this, how many times does 4 go into 11?
1, 2.
2 times, right? Okay? It goes in 2 times. How much is left over? So 4 times 2 is 8. What's 11 minus 8?
3.
3 out of what's my denominator here?
4.
Okay? Negative 11/4 is the same as negative 2 3/4. Does that make sense? Okay? So I could say u is less than or equal to negative 2 3/4 as well. Which 2 numbers is this going to be in between?
2 and 3. Wait, no, 1 and 2.
Careful. Which 2 numbers is this going to be in between?
2 and 3.
Negative 2 and negative 3. Okay? It's not the same thing. Negative 2, negative 3 is further to the left because it's smaller. Okay? Javi. Stop. Okay? Is it going to be closer to 2 or closer to 3?
Closer to 3.
Why is it closer to 3, Logan?
Because
It just is, this is.
Okay, would you agree? What decimal is 3/4?
3 or 4.
Okay, 0.75. Would you agree 2.75 is going to be closer to 3 than it will be to 2? Is it open or closed?
Close.
Pointing which direction? To the left. Okay, questions on the first fraction example? All right, you guys are going to like this next example. Are you ready? Okay, I think it's pretty easy, yes. Okay, it's a lot easier than the last one we just did. All right, everybody's eyes need to be up here. Voices need to be off. Shh, eyes need to be up here. Voices need to be off. Eden, could you put your feet underneath your desk for me, please? Can you put your feet underneath, please? All right. Javi. Guys, we're still talking. I need you to have your voices off, please. We're almost done. Make it through. Okay. Negative 2/3 p plus 8/3 is less than negative 3p. Nope. That's not the one I wanted.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I had my original class cross that off too.
Oh my
Sorry.
gosh.
Negative 1/7n minus 6/7 is greater than or equal to negative 3/7. Sorry. That's the one I wanted.
Good job.
Negative 1/7n minus 6/7 is greater than or equal to negative 3/7. Copy this in. Logan, need to see your handwriting. Okay. What is my first step? We are not blurting.
We are
Shh, we're not blurting. What is my first step, Carlos?
Add, undo,
Good job,
add.
Carlos.
Okay. If we look at the side with my variable, which number are we going to add or subtract?
7. Oh.
6/7. So right now, the number that is being subtracted off my variable is 6/7. How do I undo subtraction? Everybody, how do I undo subtraction? We add 6/7. Okay, to both sides. Negative 6/7, positive 6/7. They have different signs. They cancel. What is still left on the left of my inequality sign?
Negative 1/7m.
Okay, I still have greater than or equal to. Now, what is nice about this example, guys?
That they're all
That
set.
has the same denominator.
They already have a common denominator. Okay? Same signs, though, or different signs?
Same sign.
Elena, why do you say different? Logan, I need you to stop talking. Carlos.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, Elena, say it again. One's negative, one's positive. Mark, stop talking. Okay? So, if they're different signs, we...
Subtract.
Eden, put it on the desk. I don't want to see it with it in your hand again. Okay? We subtract. 6 minus 3 is 3/7. Okay? I keep my denominator. I added and subtracted. What is my second step? Do not blurt this one. Okay? What is my second step? Elena. Okay? Right now, this is multiplication. Would you agree?
Yes.
I have to divide, but how do I divide fractions? Okay, when you divide fractions, make sure you write this in if you are bad with fraction operations. Okay, when you divide fractions, you multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, what is the reciprocal of a fraction?
7/3.
Okay, over here, we're trying to get n by itself, correct?
Yep.
So we're trying to move this negative 1/7. What am I going to multiply by?
7/1.
I flip it. 7 over... 7 over what?
1.
7 over what?
1.
Negative 1. You have to keep the negative. Okay? So, if I multiply by 7 over negative 1 on the left, I have to multiply by 7 over negative 1 on the right. What happens with my 7s? Negative 1s. What's left? Okay, now I want you to listen to this question. Annabelle. I want you to listen to this question and look up here, decide what your answer is, and stay quiet. I will call on you. Everyone understand directions?
Yes.
Logan, do you understand directions?
Understand, yeah.
Okay. Now, did I multiply or divide by a negative? Did I multiply by negative?
Multiply.
Did I multiply by negative?
No.
Did I?
Yes.
Yeah, there's this negative 1, right? So what do I have to do with my sign? Flip it. It's going to now become less than or equal to, correct?
Yes.
7s are going to cancel. I have 3 over negative 1. What's 3 over negative 1? Positive or negative? Negative 3. Okay, I'm not going to graph this one because I know you know how to graph it. Okay? Please put your things away. Okay? Put your things away, please.